All right, yogis, let's start standing, please. And remember, I try to remind you at the beginning of every class that say you have this tendency to round your spine in exercise, your kind of main priority to remind yourself is to try to stand up taller. Okay? Same with arching your back. If you tend to be here a lot, we want to work on just standing taller. That would be our main priority, structurally, physically speaking. Okay? Take a moment here. Remember, I said let's not rush here. Let's keep it mindful yoga by kind of tuning into our body in a more subtle self-awareness level here. I'm kind of feeling my toes, my ankles, my wrists, my elbows, my knees. You just take a moment. I saw some of you already doing it for just some subtle movements. And then I kind of lift the heart, pull the head back, lift the crown. Even if you have to exaggerate it a little bit, your shoulders are back and down. So we're just going to kind of go through some movements. There's no exact timing here. Some will be structured, some will be a little bit more free. It's all core work. Just keep an open mind when you're training your core, all right? A nice big inhale to your abdomen, to your chest. And a nice big exhale. Again, big inhale to the abdomen, the underarms, the chest, the back. Big exhale. One more, please. Remember, there's nothing more core than breath. And here we go. First movement is pretty light to start. Start to twist it out here. Okay, now I like to suggest it's warm up. You don't necessarily go hyper range or speed. You're kind of feeling it out. And as you get into it more, you bend the knees. The arms tighten a little bit, the core tightens a little bit more, okay? And you start to really step left to right, pivot on the feet more, pivot the hips more. My favorite way to train the core is rotational. You know, we could do crunches all day, but that's really like beach muscles, your abs, your rectus abdominis. They're not really the most functional muscle. The transverse abdomen and the obliques really get hit when we're turning, twisting. So this is like a warm up for those. You know, we're not really trying to strengthen them, but we're firing them a lot. You know, I want you to fire those abs a lot more than you normally do, right? So remember, the best way to functionally train those transverse abdomen muscles is this twisting. Okay, it's one of my favorite things. Okay, and here we go. Next little exercise is just some linear squatting now. Let's take an inhale. I'm going to bend the knees, and I'm going to kind of bounce a few times. So, you know, again, this class is a fusion of fitness and yoga. And then I'm going to stand up, squeeze the butt a few times. Remember, getting that butt firing. Looks a little bit like this. It's almost like a standing bridge. Okay? Yeah, then you get into that chair, that squat, and you get those legs firing. Now, you know, look at me. I'm going pretty deep and a little up, and I'm going slow, getting those legs to really fire. And then once you feel that burn down there in your legs, your knee, thigh, butt, and you come back up and you do those butt pulses again. You know, you could call it standing bridge. It's like the same. So you're really trying to get those legs after our standing twist in the core. It's a little bit more for legs and glutes, all right? So a little system here. Don't like jam your butt forward though. You know, what we're trying to do, yogis, is slow down and feel the muscles we're working. It's been shown in exercise science that if you try to feel your muscles more, whether it's with your hands or your mind, you will get more electrical firing in the muscles. So try to remember that, you know, that's key. All right. Now we're going to go into our third plane of movement, our 3 planes. This is that coronal movement here. Intertwine the fingers, reach your arms up, squeeze that butt, big inhale. It's a double exhale. Okay, inhale center and exhale. And you don't go too far. If it's too much, you go like this. So go ahead. We're waking up our side bodies, so you're getting a deep lateral flexion. Your arms go into like a big abduction, so it's a lat,
a rib release. Remember that the lat muscle, it's such a big one. It runs from the back of your outer shoulder down to your lower back arch. It's the thoracolumbar sacral fascia, big fascial area. And that actually transversely connects to your glute maximus on the opposite side. So this is a really important movement. We do it in a lot of ways in yoga. Uh, this lateral moving tension and compression. So don't rush. You take it slow. I did this yesterday. I did about 20 rounds per side, but that's a lot. You work towards 10. Maybe you're going to 15, 20 as you get better at it. All right.
All right, yogis. Now, I want you to keep going. Now, this is that first pivoting. Now, this is back to the twist. First thing, it's the push, the pull, it's the turning, the rotations, it's the abductions. I'm sorry, let's do one first, actually. Big arm circles. You're going to bend the knees. This is supposed to represent a deadlift. So it's one of the most fundamental exercises known to man. You widen your knees. You turn your toes out. You exhale, get low. You inhale, reach up, straighten your legs. Exhale. Okay?
It's our second round of squats also. So when you're studying the most fundamental exercise known to man, you could say walking, obviously, right? But if we're talking weights, weight carry and deadlift are 1 and 2. It's like you're working in a farm. You got to pick up something really heavy, and then you got to walk with it. It's called deadlift and weight carry, all right? They're the 2 best ways to build strength in the full body, probably. Next, the 3 is, I've mentioned it, squats, hinges, and lunges. All right, that's all the fundamentals, but it's really only the tip of the iceberg.
Now, right from here, we'll take that pivoting. So this is really unique because it has the pivoting, the rotation medial lateral. It has the adduction, abduction in the legs. So you're here now, watch. I turn the right knee in. I pivot on the back. So I scissor, I'm in a lunge. I push with my right hand, pull with my left hand, and turn with my core. I want that left elbow pulling back. Inhale, you feel those legs work. Exhale. Inhale. Remember, this isn't peak difficulty. It's still warm up. Now, from this angle, you can see, as I pivot, I turn toward the lunge, and I'm actually across here. You see that? And I actually give it a little pulse.
Yeah, yogis, it's legs first. Even though it's a core class, like I want to call it yoga legs, but it's very easily understood in the biomechanics that your legs come first in as far as strength, because that's the weight bearing body parts. Your arms don't have to bear weight. That's why they're not nearly as strong. As soon as you get up out of bed, your legs are being challenged carrying your weight. Might not feel like that. So core doesn't really do much if the legs are weak. We know people with weak legs actually have way more spinal compressions, way more disc herniations, way more bulging discs, way more slip discs, way more degenerative disc disease when the abdomen is heavier than the legs, is the commonly way they put it. So, legs, think of working and turning on your legs to feel like what they call like the minor swelling of the legs. You get a good workout, they feel swelling a little bit, right?
All right, guys, let's slowly come up. Now you get like a stretch, right? You did all the rotation, the adduction, the bending and straightening. Now the legs don't really do that. You just straighten and hinge, now it's called. I mentioned the other fundamental, right? So feet are hips width distance. Hands start on the hips. If you want more, you could always go hands behind the head. I'm gonna bend the knees. It's like I'm trying to lean forward into my toes. You're gonna feel the back of your legs light up, okay? Then you're gonna come back up, squeeze that butt and those thighs again, okay? Look at me standing tall. Am I like this? No. Am I like this? No, okay? Inhale, exhale. Squeeze that butt at the top. You can pause down in there a little extra. You can pulse in any exercise too, right? Within the tension, within the contractions. You see people in the gym, they do it like this. They'll take bars, a kettlebell. It's called the Romanian deadlift.
Remember that the lower back arch is obviously a crucial part of your core. We know in the superficial back line, if you've read your Myofascial Trains book by Tom Myers, that the superficial back line, the hamstrings and the lower back arch are literally connected via the fascia. So, oh, your hamstrings are tight? That's compressing your lower back, right? We know that. Oh, your hamstrings are weak? It's a weak lower back. You know, we know most people they think like 70 to 80% of people have tight and weak hamstrings. I would say yogis have flexible and weak hamstrings. All right. I do the hamstring test with all my clients. Most people can only lift about 30 pounds with the hamstrings together. That is not good. Okay. So this is strengthening the hamstrings. All right. As we kind of create length.
All right, I want to keep it going with the standing stuff. Only a few more to go, and then we'll be on our back. All right? So, you know, like I keep saying, this is now a combination of movements here. And the legs are going to stay sturdy. I think we did this like this weekend. It's one of my favorite core trainers. You're going to reach forward. It's like you're holding a block. You're going to exhale down to the right. You're going to inhale with your core up to the left. I'm breathing a little louder so you can hear the breath cadence. So did my spine round? Maybe an inch or two. I don't want to be like too rigid. You know, I'll say don't round your spine a lot, but be careful being rigid. A biomechanist said it once, and it always sticks with me. Now it changed how I taught yoga. He said, if you want a rigid body, do rigid exercise, because that's creating the conditions, your repetitions. So you do want to think strength and sturdy, but also think like the water element. If you want to go a little bit more outside there is this kind of freedom within it as you're tensing. Try to really turn into your core. Now keep those legs bent, yogis. Second side, right? Down to the left. Exhale, inhale. Every exercise, you're tuning into the muscles. Obviously, there's a lot of legs. Don't let your knees buckle in. There's a slight tuck of your tailbone, pulling into that navel. Looks good, everyone. Just try to relax your traps. Some of you look like you might be tense in here, okay? No reason to tense there. Hey, no resting. Does everyone feel that in the core? That's oblique training, right? You have the obliques that go, you know, some go from your outer hip to the inner, this anchor, xiphoid process there. And then you have the obliques that go the opposite way. One angle's in, one angle's out. They're on the side, abdomen. And it's also transverse abdomen training, a little bit of rectus abdominis if you're slowing down and contracting well. All right, so your legs didn't really move much there, right? It's really core and arms. So it looks like a lot of you look done there. So always save energy and try to do both sides equal if you can, to especially your weak side. Let's keep going. Now, this is a little different, yogis. I want you to think like almost martial arts. We haven't done this in a while. Sometimes yoga is too slow. Step to the front of your mat now. This is going to be more legs. It's obviously core and some arms, but it looks like this. You're going to inhale back. We call it high lunge. You feel a stretch where you kind of posteriorly tilt. So your pubic bone tucks forward. You feel your front left hip flexor light up. Inhale. Exhale. Left knee up. Okay? But look at the control. Inhale. If you want more, straighten your left leg. Look at the arms. Pull back. You're not alternating sides. You're repetitively kneeing or kicking forward with that left leg. And then you're stepping it back. You're getting low. Then you're exploding off that back lunge. It doesn't have to be fast.
You can work towards going a little faster, but try to maintain a certain level of body awareness and just intentional quality. It's all memory. So teaching your body quality awareness is key. That's the whole thing. Slow down. What are you doing? Is there any way you can make it more intelligent and intentional? Okay, second size. Some of you already are switching. Yeah, you should be building heat, right? It's a lot of big full body movements right now. Don't forget, this is dynamic stretching. This is all going to make you more flexible too. Yeah, little self-defense practice always helps too, just in case, right? Learn to kick and punch a little bit. All right, so I was hoping to do 20 minutes of standing movements. I think we have about 5 minutes left in the standing series here. Because you can see we're starting to go on one leg now, right? So I want to switch up the plane of movement. And we did this a few weeks ago. It's a really fantastic one. It's the outer hips now, okay? So it's kind of like chair. And I'm just going to keep it simple with the hands kind of centered to start. You're going to sit into like a squat or not too deep of a chair. You're going to hover your right foot an inch. Now, it's abduction. It's not flexion. Your leg doesn't go forward. Your leg goes out to the side, and then you pause. So this one's slower. I'm pausing out here, lifting that right leg, feeling my outer glute. Okay? Listen, I go down after a nice pause. I never put that foot down, though. Same side, boom, right out. From the side, you can see, yogis, it's right out to the side. If anything, it's back more, not forward. It's back more, if anything. Feel that glute light up. Okay, and then you hover it again. And you got to push yourself here, yogis, all right? Strength is really happening when, or let's say the changing of you guys ever, there's a famous book about this, about really how to build strength. And it was actually wrote by a competitive weightlifter, but how to build muscle fast, like, because you're damaging the muscle, right? You have to remember when it gets difficult and when you want to quit is basically when you're signaling the most muscle growth. And that's tough, on certain mornings, especially. Those last couple reps is when you're getting strong. So if you quit every time it gets difficult, first signal of difficulty, your growth will be very slow. The more you can push into the space where it's slightly painful, right? That's how you are going to grow fast. Okay. You can stand up and shake it out. I see some of you look like you switched sides already. You just doing your second side. All right. Your left foot's going to hover here. Now, don't round your spine, don't arch your back, pull your belly in, roll your shoulders back and down, head pulls back over spine, tongue to the top of the mouth. Okay, and then you're breathing in out your nose as you inhale the leg out, and you're going to pause out there for a few breaths. Okay, and then you're going to hover, and you got to push this second side, because I know that standing leg was just working in the abduction. Remember, this is a bilateral abduction, so both sides hit both legs. One is closed chain, one is open chain, right? You guys feel that? Nice. This is from the Nice Booty series too. So it makes your butt have a lot more shape, all right? In case that interests you. Many good reasons to work out, right? Wanting to take care of yourself, make yourself, look better, whatever there's many good reasons, and that's totally a good reason. Sometimes aesthetics gets frowned upon in fitness by some of the yogis, and you gotta be careful with that. They'll say, don't work out for aesthetic reasons. but also don't judge. So, yeah. All right, Yogi. So it looks like I'm losing a lot of you there. All right, is that getting difficult? It should be. Hopefully, you're really feeling that in the outer butt. Okay. All right. So let's take a quick stretch here now. I'm going to do like a straddle. If you want to do legs closer together, think your first forward bend. Stretch out those outer hips. Big shoulder stretch would be hands behind your back. Take that inhale. So first big invert. It's really an inversion, increasing blood flow to brain. Arms go up and over. Head drops low. A few breaths here. You can also pull on your ankles of the floor. Remember just to throw your stretches in whenever you need. You don't have to do everything exactly. If you miss an exercise, if you miss half, it doesn't matter. So we're going to do one more standing thing here, and it's slow. It is to train the complex strength stabilization of the hips. There is other muscles involved, but don't forget the hips are your core. You know, when you're thinking lower back, you always think hips. When you're thinking core stabilization, pelvic stabilization, it's obviously all hips just as much as it is abs or lower back. Those two are the same, okay? So when you're ready, let's stand up. And this is that final part. I want you to go really slow and listen closely, okay? So we're gonna start nice and standing here, guys. Maybe we'll have time for two more standing things because there's one more thing I'd like to do, but stand up tall, lift your left knee into your chest, okay? I want you to lift the left knee really high, like lift it up, okay? Higher than the hip if you can. Pause. Now I'm working on standing up here, okay? Then I turn the inner left shin up. So it's like I'm doing an active pigeon. I'm flexing my foot. The inner left shin is turning up, and this is the best I got. You know, my hips don't rotate laterally that way. I don't care. So what? Okay, it's not about range necessarily. Okay, you're holding that. Now listen, you're gonna bring that heel underneath the knee. You're gonna bring the knee wide. Now I'm gonna try to stand up here. Don't go here. Just stay with the hips, same height. Turn the knee open here. Hold. Left hip crease forward. Left knee back. Now I turn the left knee down. I bring the outer edge of my left foot up. So now I'm here. And I flex that foot. I turn the outer edge of the left foot up. Watch. I lift the left thigh. You were just there. Push the heel back more. Turn the hip in more. Push the heel back. Bring your right hip more forward. Lift the chest. Okay? Now, bring the left knee down next to the right knee. Point the left toe. Tuck your tailbone. Bring your heel to your butt. Bring your knee back in space, your left knee. Lean back and pulse your heel to your butt. Pulse your heel to your butt, yogis. Remember I said most people have weak hamstrings? You know, when I realized this a couple years ago and I did the hamstrings test on myself, I would go into hamstring weight test and I would hurt and be scary to lift 40 pounds with my hamstrings. Now I can do about 150, 200 on a good day. Okay, now listen, take the left foot down, give it a break. And I'm gonna switch sides. You know, a lot of times we'll keep going with that leg, but I know this can be difficult if you're new to it. Let's work, but be easy too, right? We don't wanna be too sore. Right knee lifts. You can probably feel your right hip because you were standing on it so much, right? So your right knee lifts. See how high as you can? Okay, hold, core stability. Inner right shin up, hold, hold, hold. Try not to lean back, yogis. Posture is the priority. Breathing smooth in and out of your nose will increase muscular strength and endurance. Now, bring the knee back center, heel under knee, bring the knee wide. Hold. I know, you have to take rest. It's totally normal, okay? Yeah, now, right hip crease forward, right knee and foot back. Right knee lifts. Lengthen side bodies equally. Slight tuck of the tailbone. Now listen, keep your knee out there. Internally rotate, medial rotate. Turn your right knee kind of down slightly. Your right foot goes back behind you a little bit. Your knee's still bent, about a 90-degree angle. You're flexing your right foot. And now kick the right foot back behind you. So you're here. Don't arch your back, Bob. Pull the ribs in. Push the heel back. Outer edge of right foot lifts. That's the medial rotation or the internal rotation that's way underdone in fitness and yoga. Okay? That's why you're so weak. Okay? Now listen, bring the knee down, point the toe. The key is, yogis, is to pull your knee back, tuck your tailbone posteriorly, pull your knee back, and then pulse your heel to your butt. You should feel the back of your thigh light up like crazy. Your hamstrings. This is the aspect of the hamstrings we lack the most in yoga. It's called knee flexion. We know that if you strengthen your hamstrings, it basically makes your lower back way stronger, okay? Because if you strengthen your hamstrings, you might feel it in your lower back. Now take the foot down, shake it out. All right, shake it out. We got to go back the way we went in. Just so one more time in reverse, all right? So left foot first, point toe, knee back, heel to butt, hold, pulse. Look at my knee, it immediately wants to go forward. You want to try to keep your knees aligned side to side. So pull your ribs in, pulse your heel to your butt. Last time, yogis. If you don't like this, you are doing it correct. Don't let your back arch. Come on, now pull the belly in. Now, bring the knee about 90 degrees. It's one more time. Out to the side, push it back, but try to bring the foot, the heel, higher than the knee, but pull your ribs in, drop your left hip down, and just lift from the femur. So you don't want to go like this. It's more like this. You don't want to go like this. It's not about how far can I go. Turn the knee up outside. So now you're here. Hold. Knee comes forward, turn it in and up for the peak lateral flexion. I'll do this side a little faster, okay? Because we got to get moving here. I'm spending too much time in the standing. Heel under knee, left foot down, shake it out, please. You have one more final side. We're going to switch it up a lot. You can do some chaturangas, some planks. All right, so listen, it starts with the right heel to your butt. I want you to try to pull the right knee back. You got to be really resilient in pulling that knee back, guys. Pull your lower abdomen in, tuck your tailbone posterior. So it's like you've seen your dog, they tuck their tail between their legs. That's what you're doing with your tailbone here. It pulls the belly in more, okay? Don't hunch forward. You're pulsing that heel to the butt, you're pointing your toe. That's a hamstring curl in fitness world. Okay, now listen, the knee goes about 90-degree angle. You flex your foot and you abduct so the knee goes wide and you're trying to turn the hip inward slightly. It's subtle, yogis, and the right foot is going higher than the knee. You're turning your kind of hip and knee down and in, so your foot's higher than the knee, but you don't let the body arch side to side. You don't let it laterally tilt either in the pelvis. So the right hip has to drop down a little bit. This will make your hips like super strong, right? You do this stuff regularly. I actually do this usually on, it's gonna sound weird, but like easier days, right? Now listen, turn the knee up so the heel's underneath the knee. You're here. Right hip crease forward, right knee open. We did this stuff earlier, right? To warm up for this. It's like the same body form kind of. Now go slow, bring it forward. Final part, yogis. Turn the inner right shin up and lift everything toward the chest. Hip flexor right there, right? Hip flexors and lateral rotators, which are usually thought to be opposite muscle groups, right? So that's a very interesting approach. Now listen, slowly release it. I see most of you look like you're feeling that one. Okay, now nice job there. I gotta keep moving forward. Let's make our way down. Table, top position.
Big inhale. And exhale. Let's cleanse that palate. Nice inhale. Let's reach it up. Exhale, we forward bend. Inhale, we half lift. High plank. Let's step back. Maybe a few extra push-ups here, guys. Let's get the weight bearing on the arms. Shift forward. Bend the elbows to straighten. Remember, you want your hands underneath your elbows, not your shoulders when you're doing push-ups, right? As you shift forward. Take it down to your chest. Inhale for Cobra 1. Take a breath here. Inhale for Cobra 2. Take a breath here. And that's the first big back bend. You know, the only other one we did really was the lunge, right? The step back kick. Downward dog, please. Let's take some breaths here. Get into your feet a little bit more.
All right, let's take a few chaturangas now. So move skillfully, slowly here. Think of flexibility and strength. Inhaling high plank, exhaling, bending the elbows, kind of putting it all together now. Top of your feet turning down, hovering halfway. Inhale, up dog or cobra if you feel like you want to stay there. And then downward dog, tucking your toes and chin. You want to use your core to lift your hips up and back from your hips being down and forward to that up and back. So you're using your navel, your abdomen to kind of drive that lift up and back, okay? Let's take a few more now. I'd like you to go strong in your arms here, guys. You know, there's a little less arm weight-bearing stuff in this class than a lot of the yoga styles. So when these moments are here and we're on those arms, push it. You know, do extra push-ups, go slower, add more advanced options. It's just like, you know, any exercise routine, you'll have days where you really go heavy in the legs. And you will do less arms on certain days, right? Or maybe some days you will do more arms, or, you know, this is that core leg day in my schedule for you guys. Yeah, you're trying to get to 5 to 10 rounds here, depending on what you're doing. Okay, I've showed more advanced versions: the Hindu flowing push-up, the knees, chest, chin, the Chayo pose through gentle knee cobra. And you know, Chayo pose when you need a little rest, right? All right, looks like a lot of yous are done there. Downward dog, please. I want to do a big side body stretch. It's one of the biggest side body stretches in yoga, and it's subtle. It's done a lot, but the majesty of it's not really recognized. So you're going to come back to down dog. You're going to bring your feet hips width distance, and then you're going to lift your heels really high and drop them over to the right. Now, try not to shift forward to plank. Try to keep your hips up and back. You can drop your heels to the right in down dog. And I tell you, it's one of the biggest side stretches in yoga, particularly around like your underarm and intercostal muscles. Those are the muscles between your ribs. Love that one. So good, right? Okay, now, you know, don't hold too long. Let's bring heels back to center. If you need a rest in between sides, that's okay. So you get the good stretch. Hips over to the left. I wanted to do standing triangle movements, right? But we skipped them, and we're doing this now instead. Big lateral tilt, right? Same thing. Let hips over to the left, please, and your heels to the left. Does everyone feel that big side stretch? Man, it's so great when you're looking for a nice side stretch.
All right, now listen, we're gonna bring it down to the knees. I want to give your arms a break because we're going to go into plank work next. And what are we lacking in the legs? Thigh, quadricep it's called, the knee extensions. So let's just get them done now. And then we're kind of almost done with legs. I'm going to do bridges or hip thrusts. That's it after this. We don't need lateral leg lifts. You know, we could do adductors, but you can't do everything in one day, right? So this is the lean back. This is for beginners. It is very difficult to someone who's new to it. Just go very small movements, please. What I do not want to see is this. What I do not want to see is this. I want to see your hips stay right in line with your shoulders and your knee. So slight tuck of the tailbone. The key is to squeeze your glutes as you're inhale, leaning back. Okay? And you're going to squeeze the butt, press your feet down, hold, and then come back up. Okay? So it's that same quality of going into the range, holding, 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 and then eventually after you kind of, it's too much, you come back up, all right? And so it's that there is movement, but I don't want to see like fast movements, all right? So go ahead, if it's uncomfortable, that's normal. You have to squeeze your butt tighter, tuck that tailbone. Like I said, your arms can reach forward as you go back. This is from the knee rehab series too, right? It's really good for your knees. Just take it slow. Looks good, everyone, that I can see. Nice, you don't have to go much now. Come on now. This is the tension knee, right? A lot of times everyone's always doing compression knee. They do the knee extensions, which are fantastic, by the way. We don't do as much of that in yoga here and there, but this is a really good one if you're looking for an exercise to make your legs just much more physically fit. This is fantastic. All right, the front body tension, we do not do nearly enough of that in fitness in general. It's always front body shortening or compression strength. You know, the hip flexors, the quads I just mentioned. Do this one often, guys, because it's a game changer. All right, here we go. Listen, we're gonna do some plank work now. I wanna do our twisting plank today. So we're gonna come down, I see a lot of you look done there, right? You really can only do 6-12 reps there, right? So you come down to your forearms, intertwine your forearms, you tuck your toes, you get back into your plank now. We're gonna do the same thing we did now in plank that we did earlier in dog. So you wanna separate your feet hips width distance. Keep both forearms down, please. Drop both heels to the right, outer edge of right foot all the way down, inner edge of left foot all the way down. I want you to try to squeeze your glutes tiny bit, pull the belly in. Now, I'm gonna have you hold, right? We did a lot of movement standing. If you wanna move side to side, you can, but you know, slow down, try to feel the muscles contracting. It's like your hips are flopping over to the right. Come on now, work here. You want that strong core, you gotta step into the moment and take advantage of it. Strong mind when the opportunity is here. Okay. Yeah, you know, some of you still going, right? I kind of teach in the middle. I wait for some of you to stop, but some of you are strong and you keep going, right? So heels are going to go to center. You're trying to hold the plank the whole time if you can, all right? Heels to the second side. All the way. So the outer edge of your left foot is down. Inner edge of your right foot's down. So that's adductor and abductor strength. I know, yes, it's tough. All right. So I see a lot of you here in your child pose. So take a little breather. I do want to do the side plank today as our peak lateral. If there's another peak lateral you'd want to do, you know, half moons, always a good one. We did the lateral leg lifts. That's glute medius, but I want lateral arm, like kind of like lateral core.
Remember that anti-lateral flexion is usually safer for the average person. If we start to laterally flex the core, which we do often, it is a little bit more risky for the back soreness. So side plank, if you want to come back on your hands, we're in plank world here. We're sticking with planks for a minute or so. So second round of your planks, but all the way to your side plank, please. You know, I meant anti-lateral flexion means the body wants to move into a certain range, but you don't let it. So the body's trying to move via weight. You don't let it. Anti-movement, okay? Very different from a dynamic lateral flexion, which would be something like this. This is known to make you way more sore than this. Even though this makes you very sore here, this is going to make you more sore here. Remember that smaller movements here are usually more difficult and better for building strength. So you see a lot of people in the gym, they're doing like the big range there, when most of them should probably be doing like a small movement. Okay, second side. It looks like some of you are already there. Small movements are better for strength. Range training is different than strength training. I do both. It just depends on what I feel like I need in the moment or that day. I'm teaching my friend, she's never lifted weights, to like do some weightlifting and stuff. And, you know, she's a yogi, so she's always worried about range. But when we're building strength, I'm actually telling her not to go range, right? You know, it's like, keep the muscles engaged. Range tends to lack quality muscular contractions, okay? All right, guys, so we're here in the end of our active exercises. We have the last few things to do. It's symmetry in the front and back body. We're gonna start with leg swings. So it looks like most of you are done, right? We did our twist, we did our side. Now we do the front and then we do the back. Boom, okay? So swing around to seated position, please. Lay on your back. I'm gonna go right to the laying on the back now. And I said symmetry. Last week we did all those complex twists and stuff in the core, on our back. I'm just leaving a little bit of that out today, all right? We went really strong in the abs the last couple of weeks. We'll do moderate today. So legs are up to the sky, laying on your back, please. What I want to see here, yogis, is I want you to remember to keep your lower back down. Now, a beginner, you would have here, and you'd say, keep your lower back down. You'd go here. It's that same idea of like going into tension, holding, lower back down. I'd be like right next to them saying, don't let your back arch. And then you come back in. Someone who's feeling good, you do the same thing, but you lift your head. Okay? Someone who's, you know, a lot of you are much more capable, right? So you inhale your legs forward, lower back down. Exhale, look at this little pelvic lift. Little pelvic lift. You lift your head for more, so that's the double crunch. You lift your shoulder blades for more. See the little reverse crunch the hips do? Watch my hips lift an inch. All right, come on now. Now, if you did want a little bit more from there, you know, it depends on how you're feeling, right? I felt like we've gone pretty strong. Your legs would go a little to the side. You pop up, your legs would go a little to the side, pop up. By pop up, I mean the hips just pop a little bit, attempting to reduce from momentum. Attempting to reduce momentum. So, you know, it's funny, called leg swing. People use the swing to get their hips up, but you don't really want to do that, all right? It still is not bad because your negative is going to have to control your legs on the way down. So, you know, momentum is okay a little, but try not to get stuck in that pattern. You know, in your last few reps, you can always do momentum, but, you know, say you're doing anything. Say you're doing like a tricep extension. You know, you can do a few slow, but then the last few, you have to kind of like rock it up and then you resist it down. Rock it up, momentum, and then you resist it down. You get those last few reps. You don't have the concentric strength, but you can still work eccentric in the end, and then you're going to peak out your strength more. All right?
All right, take a little breather. I said symmetrical now. Some of you went the asymmetry, but now we're going to do the upper body lift here. Remember, crunches are great. It's different if you have lower back injuries, pain, or a very weak core, right? I think everyone in here has been training core with me a while. Your core is not very weak, probably. So I want you to think crunching up, not forward. Up, up. If you want a little extra, just to be clear, we're going to do bridges or final back bends, and then we're done with strength. You are here in the end. So you're just going to do this. Tap your shoulder blades, reach up. We do this one too, if you like to do it like this. Okay, so it is an abdominal crunch. We're not trying to bring our shoulders towards our knees. We're trying to lift our shoulder blades up. Okay, so a crunch forward is more dangerous in a sense for injury and deep unnecessary soreness. So we're trying to crunch up. Let's keep going. And I want to count this out. Let's go strong. This is your last abs for 40, 39, 38. Come on now, 37, 36. Oh, is anyone doing this with me? Okay, I see two of you. Let's keep going. 35, 34. Maybe you come back in when you're ready. I know I started counting after you did 20 already. Got about 30 left. Come on now. Keep pulsing. Keep pulsing. So we're doing a little bit of a simple way to train your abs right now, but very effective. We did enough twisting upright. Last 20. Come on now. You got this. I'm counting you off on my fingers right here. Okay. 13, 12, 11, 10. This is where you're getting stronger. Right in the end. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job, everyone. All right, so we got about 11, 12 minutes left in class. Bridge or wheel. If you want to come up and do up table or single leg hip thrust, I want something in your back body. Bridge is doable, right? It's not that strenuous. You can get up in there and hold it. I want at least 2 rounds. If you're feeling really good, let's do a wheel pose or sit up, please, and do a reverse plank, a reversed hip thrust one leg. If you're feeling tired, bridge pose, please. Okay, you can put a block between your thighs for extra challenge. This is your final active energy, and we will stretch after this. Nice. If you're working your bridge, don't forget your posterior tilt. Your heels are underneath your knees. It's funny, there's 2 main potentiations in the bridge. My 2 top are press your big toe down and posterior tilt. A lot of people, their first cue is bring your heels toward your shoulders, but that's like 3rd or 4th. And then lengthening your abdomen and lower back would be 3rd or 4th also. Okay, don't let your knees buckle in or out also, watch out for that. Ooh, nice. One-legged bridge is a nice option always. A little pulsing at the top, right? Looks good, everyone I can see. Remember, posterior tilt and bridge, it's so sneaky. It goes under the radar. And when you're training your glutes and you stay in anterior tilt, that's like you're trying to eat healthy and they're sneaking the worst ingredient in there possible in all your foods. It's hidden. You gotta, the posterior tilt and the bridge. So the pubic bone comes higher than the navel. Pubic bone, same thing I said earlier, tuck your tailbone between your legs. All right, now, some of you are already, looking like you're done, but 1 more round if you have it, please. We just did the crunches, the leg swings with the reverse crunch and then the crunch. So you need that bridge, right? You might not think you need it or want it, but you do. Nice, Beck. Get those wheels in. Nice, Brian. Yeah, Leslie, I like that one. The leg lifted bridge. That's always going to increase. So if you lift that leg that's on the floor higher, it's more glutes. It's considered a more difficult option. Putting your foot on a block or even like a chair against the wall.
All right, so I think it's time we stretch a little bit. Looks like one or two of yous are still going. How about we start with the figure four, right ankle atop left knee, just going into rotation because we just did like front and back body strong. So it's that same idea, the three planes of movement. Uh, right ankle atop left knee. You can also do Gomukhasana here. You reach through and grab your left hamstring. Just try to relax now, little yogis, man. We were working right from the start. Ooh, nice little headstand. Uh-oh, I messed her up. If anyone wants to do an inversion, that's cool. You don't need to stretch after every yoga class. We've done a pretty good amount of release. Okay, now listen, your right ankle's atop your left knee, right? Take this right into another stretch. So it's not the second side. Your left foot goes down, your right foot's on your outer knee, then you let the knee knock in. That's the medial rotation we did in strength earlier. So the first figure four was for our right hip. The second part, where knees knock right, is for my left hip. Remember, that's one of the main stretches I use when my lower back hurts. Because anytime, if someone's back hurts and it's sacral, we always recommend the medial rotation, right? It's just biomechanics 101. When you get the compression around the sacrum in the rotational quality, that's the stretch. Okay, let's do our second side. So it starts with the figure four, left ankle atop right knee. You thread the needle, you grab the right hamstring or shin. And you relax. Try to bring your head and sacrum down. Relax your shoulders. Yeah, so you're going to take this on your own, right? Because we're just unwinding now. We have a few minutes left to close out class, and you're just thinking tension release and making your body feel good. Eventually, the right foot goes down, the left foot slides on the outer right knee, and you let those knees fall to the left. Try to relax into it. And I did want to remind you guys, I do record my screen. So say you want to take class and you're going to miss it because you got, life happens, right? You can email me and I can send you a recording of it. It's no big deal. Uh, you know, just because you have it busy but if you're depending on the Zooms, and I get it, send me an email and I'll try to get you that recorded class as best I can, as fast as I can. All right. So listen, yogis, nice job there. I think we should take a big twist release. I know that's rotational hips, but it's not really like your core, lower back, and abdominals. So you're going to finish up the hip rotations. Maybe take like a happy baby for a moment, kind of grabbing your ankles or your feet, kind of kicking and moving, more exploratory release. It might feel good to go plow too, like swing your legs up over your body. But just remember that is considered a more dangerous yoga pose, rightfully so, right? Going into a big spinal rounding and putting weight on your neck in a hyper range. And it's a tension, so it really lengthens and pulls the back of the spine. So it's called plow or halasana in yoga. And then some of us look like they're doing a little shoulder stand. That's called the Sarvangasana, the queen of yoga poses. And your pace, right? You'll release your left leg, keep your right knee into your chest, scoot your hips to the right, and then let that big twist happen. The right knee goes over to the left. You reach your right arm out, you put your left hand on your outer right thigh, and then you breathe. And you're like this on your back, right?
if you wanted the really big double bind, this would be biggest stretch of class. The right hand reaches forward, the left knee bends, this is optional, and grabs that left foot. So there's our thigh stretch as well, where you're pulling the heel of the butt, turning, breathing, lengthening through your core. It's basically one of the biggest stretches in yoga. Or just in body forms in general. Okay, when you're ready, please, let's switch sides. So we're gonna do this second side, and maybe I'll give you 30, 40 seconds for putting a block under you or something, and then we're gonna just do a closing meditation. So if there's anything you wanna do, now is a good time, okay? So we released our hips, we released our core, our legs. How about you take, last 30, 40 seconds if you want to throw a block under your head. We didn't do much like neck stuff and, all the standing stuff. The neck can be locked, a nice little neck. You could sit up and do a neck circle. You could put a block under your head and massage out the back of the base of the skull. It's called the occipital ridge where your neck meets your skull. You could also put a block under your hips or your upper body if you feel good about it. Legs up the wall might feel nice here. A lot of leg stuff today. But I'm asking you to close up your physical practice so we can, one of the majesties of yoga is that idea of calming. If you've ever worked out hard in a gym and you go right into your car, you can still feel your nerves, right? You're in stress response, right? Exercise can cause a heavy dose of your cortisol. So by calming here in the end, we're really doing ourselves justice and well by shifting the chemical body in the end here, calming our heart rate, slowing the breath rate, and just the nervous system is less antagonized. Okay, so you finish up your final pose whenever you can, and you start to get comfortable. That's the key, the comfort. It's going to help your body relax the quick. You close your eyes, you take a breath or two, and then you commit to being still, relaxed, and quiet for just three minutes or so. All right.